Today at Predators, we're talking about the Australian Frilled dragon and how to set up an enclosure for them. We're going to go from this to this. Today's enclosure is actually going to have a little bit of a twist to it. Not only is it going to look cool, but it's going to be bioactive, so it's going to take care of itself. So now step one is going to be the drainage layer, which in this case we are using hydro balls. You want a layer that's about 2 inches thick. So the Frilled dragon, a cool fact about him, is that if you've ever seen the Disney movie Hold, those lizards in it were made to look like frilled dragons, but they're actually bearded dragons. However, the Frilled dragon is the real lizard that can expand that piece of its neck out to make it look bigger and run on 2 legs at you. Now that we've got our drainage layer, we're going to put the separation device, or the mesh, and that is going to keep the dirt out of the hydro balls. So it's literally just a cut piece of mesh you're gonna put down in there. For today's build, we're gonna mix jungle mix and forest 4 together. So I'll start off with the jungle mix. About a little over half bag 1. So mixing it around. Now we're gonna start it low in the front of the enclosure and actually build the dirt level up as we go further back. So we're gonna take a piece of manzanita wood and we're gonna kind of just test fit it, see where we think it looks best. I think we're just gonna put it right smack dab in the center. Yeah, I like the way that looks. So now we're using 2 bigger plants that will both keep growing and get a little bit bigger to take up a bunch of this space and make it real green in there. So we'll get to these guys, I think. We'll do that one there. I just thought that it took up too much space. It was just too crowded with that plant in there. But I'd still want another plant on the other side. Final answer. I'm gonna do this one. Add a little bit of color. That looks good. So now we're gonna take these jungle vines, and I like these because not only do I think that they look super cool, but frilled dragons actually prefer to sleep vertical. They prefer to grab onto like the sides of trees in the wild and sleep up and down. And with these, you can provide a nice vertical space for them to do exactly that. So we're gonna use one of these magnetic ledges from Pet Tech. They're magnetic, you can put them wherever you would like. So we're gonna do that and try to use that to help keep this piece up right. So that gives our frilled dragon a couple nice places to perch and climb around on. We're making this enclosure bioactive. So we're gonna take some springtails right here. We're gonna dump them in here. So I like to just dig out a little hole and just dump the entire container, charcoal and all, right on in there, and then bury them up. Now they'll use that charcoal to breed, so they'll come back to that little spot. We're also gonna do some isopods in there. So we're doing the powder oranges, and we'll just take some of the moss, and we could just use that for our home decoration. And then same thing, just dump it in there. Break it up, spread it around, let them run around and figure out what to call home now. Now as far as decorations go, the last thing I believe we're gonna add to this tank is my favorite, the leaf litter. Now as far as heating and lighting goes, we're going to use this Desert UVB and Heat Kit. You want a basking spot of around 95 degrees. They do need UVB lighting. And then for your plants in there, we're going to use the plant light from Lifeguard. So now the final step is to add your Australian frilled dragon. Now, as far as feeding these guys goes, they're insectivores. So as babies, you're going to want to feed them crickets and roaches pretty much every day to every other day. And then as adults, you can slow that down to 3 to 4 times a week. Now, remember, as adults, they do get bigger. This enclosure will probably last him 8 months to a year max, and then he will need something a lot bigger. So I hope you learned a lot. Hope you enjoyed our enclosure build. We'll see you next week at Predators Reptile Center.